India's premier wrestlers have been involved for quite some time in a protest to not only ensure that the current Wrestling Federation of India President Brij Bhushan Singh is actually brought to justice due to alleged crimes, but also to ensure that the WFI as a whole, as a body, is sort of revamped and refreshed in the way that it's run, because according to them it has been run very much as a fiefdom for quite a while. Now, there is no denying the fact that this is a pretty noble cause that they're taking up, and of course there have been plenty of ups and downs in their protest, because remember, the protest restarted in 2023 because the original demands of the protest, which were done in late 2022, were not met in the first place. Thereafter, of course, there have been issues. The wrestlers were arrested. There was police violence involved as well. And now, of course, things do seem to be progressing, albeit a little bit slowly. Yet, within all of the, let's say, issues that were happening off the mat, one thing that ended up getting neglected, and this is something that even the wrestlers would acknowledge, was of course the sport itself. And 2023 is an important year for two reasons. One, you have the Asian Games that are coming up in September this year, and secondly, the Asian Games in itself is like a stepping stone of sorts, because of course in 2024 you're going to be having the Olympic Games. So there is a lot of action coming up, but unfortunately right now the first bit of focus will be the Asian Games. Now, to get to the Asian Games itself, there is a process that is involved for, of course, athletes of whichever discipline they may be in. There will be trials held by that particular sports governing body, and thereafter they have to submit a list of, let's say, names who will be participating, and they have to submit it to the OCA, which is, of course, will be determining who gets to participate, and they are the final body when it comes to these determining who is it. The Olympic Council of Asia, of course, will be the ones who get to ratify what is the list or the final list of athletes that will be taking part. Unfortunately, India haven't gotten around to submitting that name as of yet, at least for the wrestlers, and this is a big problem because the wrestlers actually want that deadline gets extended. Now, the IOA's ad hoc body originally wanted to actually host these trials towards the end of June, or specifically the last week of June. The reason for this being is that way they got enough time to hold the trials properly and then submit the names before the deadline that was in fact given, and the deadline is that of July 15th. However, the wrestlers have requested that they be given more time and that the trials be delayed, because they have been, of course, protesting and they have been unable to get any sort of preparation in whatsoever, and therefore they are unprepared, undercooked, and wouldn't want to be approaching the trials in that fashion. Now, of course, they've asked for that. Whether or not such an extension is possible from the OCA, that of course is a very different matter. In fact, based on what is being reported, it doesn't seem likely that such an extension will be granted, because the window that is being asked for is just too big. In fact, an official, a source that is privy to things, told news agency Press Trust of India that to accede to the IOA's request for extending the deadline for wrestlers by almost a month and a half will be very, very difficult. If it was a matter of 4 or 5 days, it was not going to be an issue, and that's the key part. The days or the number of days that they're being asking for is a little too much. They've been asking for about a month and a half to push the things back, to push the deadline back by, and it's just not possible, because again, the Asian Games are set to begin in September, and before that you need to have all of the names ready. The entire processes need to be done, and it does seem like that's a demand that's not going to be met. So there is a very realistic possibility that wrestlers will be entering the trials without having gotten their proper reps done. Now, unfortunately, this is of course one of the side effects of them being embroiled in the protests. Again, as we said before, the cause that they are protesting is a noble one, and it is in fact a very good thing that they're willing to actually go the distance as far as the protests are concerned. But this also left them in a bit of a disadvantageous position right now, because they're going to be going into the trials unprepared and may very well be doing the same by the time it is time for the Asian Games as well, especially if things aren't progressing at the rate at which they would be hoping that it does. Because again, the Asian Games are in September this year, the Olympics will be in the summer of next year. There's not going to be that much time to prepare, and they will hope that whatever the WFI's internal messes are that need to be sorted out get sorted out soon enough. Otherwise, they will be caught up in more such situations like this. And whilst it is important that the sport, or the way that the sport is run, be cleaned up, there has to also be a little bit of a focus on the sporting side of things. That hasn't happened right now, and hopefully we can hope as sport fans and as well-wishers of Indian sport that it does in fact happen in the future, that the things get sorted out quickly so that the focus can be where it matters most, the sport itself. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to let us know in the comments below, and also like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channels, tap that bell icon as well, and follow us on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Don't forget to download the AajTak app as well, and if you're already on the channel, go ahead and check out some other videos that we've done. But for now, from my side, goodbye.